Hey there YouTube, this SJM4306 and it's currently 2 a.m. in the morning apparently. I couldn't sleep, so I thought, you know what, I'd make a neat little video about mini discs. Because why not? So these are my three high-end units that I got. Each of these, actually these two I got as sold as is broken for a fraction of a price of what they normally sell for. These two are the MZR90. Actually, sorry, this is the MZR90, this is the MZR900, and this guy is the MZR909. The problem with this one, it was sold as not turning on, and it ended up being the battery contacts were very corroded, you could see there. And this guy was sold as not being able to record because the read-write head, the cable, there's like a little flat flex cable, actually broke. And so I desoldered it and I replaced it with the read-write head from a MZR 707. And I was able to get this to record and everything. So now this works perfectly. And these go for, the few that I see on eBay go for a couple $100. You know, the lowest, cheapest prices I see are $100. And MZR90s are pretty rare too and pretty expensive. And finally, this guy, I think I got this working. It was sold as perfectly functional, and it came with the remote, and yeah, so this was still a pretty good deal. Anyway, the problem that I'm having is these guys use, as opposed to most of the other mini disc players that have the AA battery built in, these guys use these prismatic cells. What they affectionately call the Gumstick batteries. You can see because it's kind of like, you know, a stick of gum. Anyway, these are actually pretty neat. This guy's a NH14WMA, and these are about like 1400 milliamp hours, 1.2 volts. These are pretty much the same as a AA battery, but just in a square shape. So yeah, you can see this is an old cell. I have another one of these that has a slightly higher capacity, but it started swelling. So obviously I have three of these players and I only have two of these batteries, one of which I can't use anymore because, well, you know, it's not really safe to be charging a swollen cell, as evidenced by my projector battery. Anyway, so I decided to go on eBay and see what other cells they had. So they sell these replacement cells, and this guy is a Lisa 9 nickel metal hydride. It's labeled as 7/5 F6, whatever the heck that means. I think that's like the length, because they do sell different length cells. I guess other portable media players use different length NiCad packs like this or whatever. And this guy's 1200 milliamp hours, so it's a little bit less capacity than the original battery, but these are brand new, and these come from China. And it was pretty cheap from what I remember. I got a 2-pack of them for something like $5 or $6. And so when I first got it, I had tried to put it in with the sleeving on, and the door just wouldn't fit, and I didn't want to force it. So what I ended up doing was, just to gain a couple millimeters, is I cut off the outer sleeve. And I did this for both of them, so that you're left with just this cell, and this plastic piece sort of removes, but you can kind of stick it on there. And this will fit now. So what I ended up doing was, there's a fix that I figured out how to get these corroded battery doors to work again. So after scrubbing all the gunk that was on here, the battery acid that leaked from the previous battery, what I ended up doing was I tried using aluminum foil, sticking it in between the contact. That works, but every time you open the door or shift it around, or if you let it settle, it is intermittent. That's not a great fix. So what I did was I took some IDE wire, any wire will work, and I stripped it back to expose the raw strands. And I took a strand, and to remove this, you can take some tweezers, and there are two fingers. There's one here and one on the outside here, and you can gently lever them up so that you can pull the door out. So you can pull this plastic part off, and then I threaded the wire around through the hole in the very back here, and right around this one finger here. So I created kind of a fresh patch of conductive wire, and it has enough surface area that it touches this metal door that it can transfer current through. Even though the area that normally connects the battery here is highly corroded, it'll touch the wire and then flow through the wire to the rest of the metal here. And because it's a very thin wire, it doesn't really add any extra space or thickness. And you can see here I have a fully charged cell. We can give that a close there, and this guy turns on no problem, and you can see the battery works. I've noticed a problem if you have an intermittent battery connector, like there's battery acid gumming it up. What'll happen is it'll turn on sometimes, but it'll give you like low battery warnings. You can see because the increased resistance will actually drop the voltage of the cell, and you'll see that your battery might not be lasting that long, even though the battery itself is fine. So I did this fix to all of my players actually, just because all of them seem to have, that's a common problem, having these corroded connectors. And you can see they all turn on and they all work just fine, and this guy as well. Yeah, this screen I've noticed is kind of bluish. It's really hard to see. You can kind of see the difference in contrast. I can up the contrast on this, but it kind of just makes the entire screen darker. So yeah, that's kind of a limitation of this model in particular, even though this is a beautiful model. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video showing you all these players. I've done a teardown of this guy. Pretty much all these units share a very similar internal structure. I can do teardowns of all these, and I have a couple other lower NMD models. So if you guys are interested in me doing teardowns of like all of them, maybe I can make a video when I get some time and show you, like a Minidisc teardown extravaganza. I have quite a few models, and it might be interesting to note differences, but mostly you can see that like the internal circuit boards are identical, nearly identical between a lot of these models. Just their EEPROMs might have slightly different data for like the menu systems and whatnot. And you can see that obviously the front shell is different. But in terms of like the layout, you can see that it's pretty much spot on the back side. And yeah, so all in all, I love these Minidisc players. I still use Minidisc players. I use my MDLP units to burn from digital tracks on my computer using Sonic Stage onto Minidiscs. And what I ended up doing was using my label maker. I started going through and printing out labels so I can stick it, to the Minidisc, so I can have a, a labeled library of music, basically. And I gotta say, even in LP4, these sound really good. I usually record in LP2. I noticed that you can fit twice the data, but in terms of like the quality difference between the standard quality mode and LP2, it's pretty much barely noticeable with the headphones and like the audio equipment that I use. So I just use LP2 pretty much, except for the fact that certain units like this MZR90 is only it can only read standard discs. It can't read LP2. Well, it'll read them, but it won't actually play the data. You won't hear any music coming out of MDLP discs, unfortunately. But other than that, yeah, beautiful players. If you have any of these old units and you want to get a hold of some batteries, eBay is a pretty good source. These were the cheapest. They sell, obviously, branded versions and whatnot of these cells. Those go for quite a bit more, and they usually only sell in like packs of one. Here I was able to get two for I think like $5 or $6, which is a pretty good deal. So now all of my my Gumstick battery players have working cells in them that I can actually use. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll post more videos on this. And yeah, until next time, I just wanted to make a quick video, and this is about 10 minutes right now. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, put them down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.